So yeah, detoxification is a process of moving those acids via the lymph system out of the body. And like I mentioned before, first they go to the lymph nodes, which are all over the place. We have a lot of lymph nodes. Famous ones are in the neck and under the arms here and in the groin. And a great story once was that I was about maybe a year ago, I was doing some, I don't know, I'm a bit of a tortoise, like tortoise here. I'm a tortoise when it comes to these things, and I've just been trekking along for a few years on a gentle slope. But I've been doing a little series of like 36-hour fasts each Saturday, that sort of thing. Back then I didn't really have many friends, so I sort of just spent my Saturdays sitting in my chair, reading, not eating, that sort of thing. But anyway, I woke up the next morning one of these times, and I just had these like 50-cent piece or maybe 20-cent piece lesions that had just come up like all down my face. I had 3 down here, 2 under here where those lymph nodes are, 2 under here, and 1 in my groin as well. And it was like I just wiped my face and my flesh fell off, you know? It was super disturbing, but I'd heard about it happening before, so it was kind of cool, but it's still like freaky when your face starts falling off. So I started growing a beard like real fast because I had a date later that week. That didn't go very well. Yeah, so these acids go to our lymph nodes. It's just called our lymph nodes here. And these, if you, I know most of us are city peeps, but we can. One of the ways you know things are true is that they repeat themselves all through nature in a fractal way. Does anyone know fractals? It's like a repeating geometric sequence. Do you have a great definition for a fractal?
No, I don't know what the definition is.
Okay. Johnny Lass is a physician, a mathematician. Do you have physics? Or just maths?
No.
Computer science, well, yeah, whatever. You're more likely to know what fractals are than me. But it's a repeating geometric sequence where you see a picture from far away and then you zoom in, and the exact same ones there.
Like when you're standing in a bathroom and there's 2 mirrors which are opposite each other, and you sort of move your head to the side, or you can see your friend in it, and you're just going back and back and back.
Exactly.
Weird.
Or like, you see people do animations of space, and you see this galaxy or the solar system, and it zooms out, and it's kind of a repeated sequence in a galaxy, and you zoom out more, and it turns out that galaxy is just part of a supercluster of galaxies that are in the same pattern. Anyway, one of the ways you know things are true is that they repeat themselves in this way, and just like in our body, it's the same system happening in our house. We have the kitchen, which we can think of as the blood, that feeds us, and then we have the bathroom, which is like the lymph, right? And that lymph, say you go to the bathroom, right, you press flush, and those acid wastes that you've deposited go down the sewage pipes, and if you were in a city, we don't kind of see this, but if you're in the farm, you'll see that out the back you've got a septic tank. Yeah? And a septic tank, does anyone know how a septic tank works?
There's bacteria in it that eats it.
Yeah, there's these little bacteria that when your poop comes along, it's just like thinking, oh yeah, dinner time. Okay, so this is what's happening in the lymph nodes, right? These 3 pH wastes are heading down the lymph vessels if your lymph's moving, and they get to the lymph nodes, and there's a high cluster of bacteria there that eat away at those acids. And they managed to bring them up to a 5 pH, which is around 1,000 times as cool, because it's a logarithmic scale. Every 1 is 10, right? Yep, so 100 times as cool. Okay, because if those 3 pH acids hit your kidneys, it would really burn them really badly. So first it goes to the lymph nodes. So you often see people with or hear about them, or you experience them yourselves, where they have swollen lymph nodes. This is where those lymph nodes have just become really inflamed. Inflammation is the medical term. Inflammation swells things, it heats them up, it causes pain, in the world of detoxification, we call that acidosis because there's only two sides of chemistry, if we remember, and only one of those sides of chemistry is the burning, eating away, inflammatory side of chemistry. That's the acids, right? So we can get these swollen lymph nodes when there's too much acid in there and it's just not moving out. The normal approach to that is, does anyone know the normal approach to a inflamed, swollen lymph node, or in swollen, inflamed tonsils? That's a pretty common one.
Cooling down ice.
You'd think so, right? But no, you cut them out, right? So it's like you're back at the farm, right? And you notice that your septic tank's full, yeah? This is like an inflamed lymph node, and you call up the septic tank dude, and you're like, oh man, my septic tank's full, and he's like, oh, that's not a problem. I'll have that removed, and you're like, oh, are you sure that's the best option? Because my waste has to get where's it going? And he's like, no problem. We'll just take that out, you know. But pretty soon you keep flushing the toilet, right? Because you still have to go to the bathroom, right? Just like every cell in your body still has to go to the bathroom. And it's pretty soon your toilet's just backing up, and then it starts coming out of the floor, and sooner than you know, you have to run out of the house. So this is the problem with that. So instead of taking things out, detoxification is more of an approach of, well, why is it full? Let's empty it out. Let's start getting the lymph moving. Another classical medical approach.
What are the symptoms of a swollen lymph node?
You probably feel it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll feel it and it'll be swollen. It might even get quite hard. Yeah.
Is this something that tends to happen to people like later on in life after like years? What can happen to?
There's this great thing in the world. I know this talk is meant to be about the nature of us and the nature of everything, but these nature things are only just cropping out every so often. This is one thing. There's this great thing in the world called karma, right? So is everyone familiar with karma? Yeah, it's like you reap what you sow. It's like the nothing is wasted philosophy. It's that everything comes around. You guys got a good explanation of karma?
Action and reaction.
Action and reaction? Yeah. It's just like physics. Mainstream Western science doesn't really know about karma so much. They know about physics and that everything that goes up has to come down, but they don't realise that that applies to all the rest of life as well. They just kind of think it applies to the mechanical parts of the universe. But we're all born with a certain karmic load, and that gives us our everything about our lives, but including our bodies. We inherit our bodies as a carbon copy from our parents, and depending on what their strengths and weaknesses physiologically, we inherit that. And just like I mentioned before, we inherit our mother's lymph system. Everything that is hers becomes ours. We eat her food. Her lymph flows through us. So we're actually, you find especially these days that children are getting struck down with disease symptoms really young in life often. A lot of kids getting their tonsils removed. I mean, that's a great example of swollen lymph nodes. The tonsils are involved in draining lymph from the head. So you get your tonsils chopped out. I'm sure probably half of the people here have had that happen maybe. That becomes a challenge for draining lymph out of the head, and so that can cause some issues later on.
Does the lymph that comes from the head that's supposed to drain through the tonsils, if the tonsils are removed, does that lymph go and look for other lymph nodes?
Well, they're not your only lymph nodes related to the head. There's others. There's a lot of lymph nodes around. So it's just you got two down.